This is the brass nose piece, and the main thing that we're looking at in this video is producing the elliptical shapes that we see representing the holes that are drilled into this part. There's a couple of things to set up on this drawing first. You'll notice that we have a three-dimensional drawing menu. So I'm going to change that back to 2D drafting and annotation, which is what we are best to use for the 2D drafting. Notice also that the lines are very thick. Now that's because our line weight is turned on. Now there is an icon down on the status bar here which allows us to turn this on or off. It may not be visible on your copies. You might need to go to the bottom right hand corner and customize the menu and make sure that that line weight is ticked, and that will give us the icon which we can then turn off the line weights. It's good to have line weights on the printout because it makes it much clearer to read, but it is pretty hard to work with on screen. You really have to turn it off. Now we've got some holes counterbored into the side of this part with 10 holes drilled through 6mm, counterbored 12mm diameter, 9 deep. If we look at it on the side, you can see here's the 6mm hole going right through, and here's the 12mm hole just going 9 deep. We have to draw both of these parts and project from one part to the other in order to be able to draw the ellipse that we see. If we were looking at this square on, this whole square on, it would appear as a circle, same as you can see down here on the side view. But because we are looking at it from the top in this view on the right hand side, looking at the top, it appears as an ellipse, and we have to draw that ellipse. Now it's already been drawn in this drawing. I'm going to just select, I won't delete all of them, I'll just select a couple of them and delete them so that we can go through the process of redrawing them and what we would do to redraw them. There's also the hidden lines here that are showing the counterbore and the hole going right through. When you do those, you'll have to draw one complete entity, and then we'll use the array command to produce the rest of them. I'm not doing the whole of the drawing because at this stage you should be quite capable of doing this drawing. It's just that I want to show you the ellipse. Now the best way is to do some construction lines, and I've got some here that I prepared earlier. I'll just turn them back on. I had the layer turned off. So I've just projected across from the points that we are seeing, and that gives us the top and bottom of our hole, of our ellipse. And the width of 12mm will give us the overall width. So I've offset the center line 6 either side to produce this box that we're going to do an ellipse in. On the draw panel we find the ellipse command, and there's two options here. If we are working from the center point, we'd use center. We know the end points of the axis, so we're going to use the second option, and I'm going to do the top axis, center axis first, and then the side axis second, and there's our ellipse. The same process would be used for these holes as they come out of the inside of this part. You can see that the dark blue lines are showing where it's cutting, coming out of the job. I've projected those across to give me the sides of my ellipse, and the true section 6mm wide coming down from the top shows me the true width of the hole, which is 6mm. As you can see, as we come around to closer to a true shape of section, we're getting closer to a circle. If it was right on the center line, we would see an exact circle. This one is actually an ellipse as well. So same process to draw that one. Now, as I said before, we would have to project across the hidden lines that we'd see from this counter bore, and what you would do in this case is just draw one complete set on the top, and then we'll use the array command. We want a polar array, and I'm going to just enclose those parts there so you can see that it's selected my ellipse and the hidden lines, and we need these two on either side as well. And you would possibly want to select your center line if you haven't got that already arrayed. So there's my selection. Press the enter key. The base point, of course, will be the center of our circle here, and the number of items is 10, so we'll just fill that in. By default, associative is usually turned on. Now if you make it associative, the finished product will be seen as one entity, which makes it difficult to edit individual parts of the array. I find it's easier to just turn that associative off, and what it does is just creates lines and arcs as though you drew them all separately. If you leave the associative on and you want to edit the individual parts, you would have to explode the array and then edit them. So we'll close the array and our job is finished. We'll just turn off the construction lines to tidy it up, and we've produced the elliptical shape we see from the top and our hidden lines, and we have arrayed to produce the finished product.